that's pretty much it for the web importer. Now I can pretty much go to the other aspect of citation managers, which has to do with in-text citations, right? The location for Mendeley, it's going to be located in the references here and all the way to the right side. So you click on that. Sometimes it's going to ask you to, sign in if you haven't signed in a while. In my case, it should be signed in, but just in case, we have to wait. All right, see, takes a while to load, but now I noticed it. And if it turns out, for example, that you have something, for example, if you have nothing on your intro, I have nothing on my intro because I actually haven't put anything on there. But if maybe you have, if you go here, intro, you click on this, you drag this here, you click on intro, now you have something here. It's trying to sync, so it's synced. But at the moment you see that nothing's available in the intro, all you need to do is just update from library and it should be there now. So it's there now. So that's really great. The next thing we can do is just, click this, insert citation. So that's now citation one. Seems that it was the same thing. Oh, okay, great. Yeah, it was the exact same citation. That's really cool. By cool, I mean trippy, because I did not expect it to be the same one. But it makes sense. It was the first one on the list. So, but to add other citations, right? If you want to add multiple ones, you can just insert 2 of them, right? And as you can see here, bibliography is automatically being generated or automatically updating. The way you add a bibliography would be just go to the more option right here, and then you can just insert bibliography. And it gives you a little, warning. It's going to be inserted where your cursor is. And then I just added 2 bibliographies, but that's not necessary. You can delete one and just keep one. And for example, maybe you want to add you added a citation and you want to add a new one that's a lot, sooner than the one before. You do this, you do that, and then it automatically updates, right? If it's numerical, it's going to be 1, 2, 3, and so on. So that's a nifty feature it has. And the other feature the Citations in-text citation has is that you can upload a different style. For example, you're a chemist, right? And you want to go to the American Chemist Society a bit. Yeah. Update citation style. And then there you go. It's updated. Now you have the citation style for the American Chemical Society. But something else that's also pretty cool about citation managers in general is that if you're publishing in an obscure citation manager or whatnot, you can also add a obscure journal. You can also add your citation style. All you need to do for that is that you need to upload the URL with the actual citation style language. And give me a sec. These are some journal titles that I have here. There's an open source project going on right now, just in general, that so right here, this is the format for a citation style language. And all you need to do to upload a custom one is create one of these or learn how to create one or find one online, right? There's a GitHub repository for these. And after you find one and get the web page, copy this, go back to here. No, not this one. You can go back to your Word application right here, and then you just paste a URL and then update it. And then you get the new one. That was actually for the organic chemistry one. So it gets updated. I think that's everything I had for the actual demo. I suppose now at this point, we can probably go back and just finish it up by giving some wrap-ups. Just a brief refresher what a citation manager is, where you can find information on it, the LibGuide available. Here's the actual website or the URL. And of course, we're here to help, right? Something like I briefly mentioned is that if you're looking for a literature review, you can always reach out to us and we can, set up a group together or share queries that we find and refine searches that you want to do, or just any research in general, where we would be more than happy to help. Like I mentioned, something else that we can do is that we can troubleshoot citation managers in general. If you're having some issues with downloads, you can just reach up to us, like setting up private groups, assisting in literature searches, and then sciref at Vanderbilt is the general email when it comes to contacting each one of us. And these are some links available for your convenience. And of course, that's about it for the workshop that we had going on. The other thing is that within the PDF that was sent for the email for this, you would actually, the PDF has the tiny URL for these slides. So if you want to, go back and reference these slides, you're more than happy to. Okay, do we have any questions? Did I miss any questions? Any reference?
I think you got them from the chat. I am curious. So some of us were at the Endnote presentation a couple of days ago. It seems like certainly importing new references is easier in Mendeley. When you've got multiple options, you can give it a DOI, you can give it a file, you can scrape from the web. Am I reading that right? That part is easier?
Yeah, it's easier. You can, one of the things that I mentioned was the PDF that you mentioned just now. If you can drag and drop the PDF on there, that's like give and take, right? The issue with that one, quote unquote, issue is that you might, the application might not always be able to get all the metadata. So in general, I do suggest, web porting it or importing it from a database, or just using the DOI to get the metadata.
Sure. Yeah. If I've got a PDF from a good source, it may have solid metadata, but it may not.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. Are there any reasons to go for EndNote over Mendeley from your perspective?
I like how easy Mendeley is in general.
Yeah.
So this goes back to the fact, like, what kind of group are you working with, right? Do they prefer EndNote? Do they prefer Mendeley? In my personal opinion, I prefer Mendeley in general. But if it turns out that your collaborators are all
Sure.
used to EndNote, to keep things simple, you might just want to use EndNote. But that's pretty much the only reason. Outside of that, EndNote has the quote unquote issue that it's very it's not as friendly when it comes to the design as other stuff, but it does have different functionality, right? Something that's available in Zotero, right, or Zotero other citation managers, is the deduplication feature, because it might come to a point where you download a reference and it's already in your library, and like you don't even realize that. They're working on that, the dedupe feature. Elsevier that existed in the old Mendeley application, right? They haven't found a nice way to just include it within the newer one, but they're working on it. Yeah, Mendeley did have a dedupe offer, but that was like a couple of years back. I think in the current update, I couldn't find it, at least. And when I actually
desktop or the website?
The desktop.
I feel like I have seen it, and now I'm trying to remember where.
Yeah.
Unless they took it out, which would be fortunate. Maybe they did.
So, is there a cost difference between Mendeley and EndNote?
Oh, so
Zotero is completely free.
Yeah, Mendeley is also free for the functionality, like I mentioned. So you don't really have to like pay to get any more features. The only difference is that if you pay, you get more storage.
Right.
And you can collaborate with more people and whatnot.
Okay. Josh, do you know if EndNote has a cost?
EndNote's model is to have people pay for it themselves. Essentially, it's I'm pretty sure you could get an institutional license, but I don't know what that would look like. Generally, people just buy access for themselves and download the desktop version.
Okay.
And unfortunately, that means, if you buy EndNote version 8, then when 9 comes out, you can't get it. You have to buy it again.
Oh, interesting. Okay. It's not a subscription model. It's like 85.
Yep.
Except I guess you don't get the software in a cardboard box that you pick up at Best Buy.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's why we generally recommend Mendeley or Zotero usually, but EndNote is commonly used in a lot of fields, so we try to keep up to date with how it works.
Gotcha.
Give me a sec. So seems, Karen, you found the dedupe feature. Am I sharing my screen right now?
PC, and it's on my desktop version, which looks different than yours, which I don't quite understand.
Okay. So you might have the older edition. Could you?
Now I don't want to update it.
Yeah.
You want me to share it?
Yeah, I would appreciate.
I don't have that tool in mind.
Yeah, that's the older edition. That's the one that I think about a year ago they changed it up. The desktop is available, but in general, Mendeley and Elsevier is moving to the one that you actually saw me present. The dedupe feature does exist in this one. That's something that I mentioned, is that some of the functionality or features are not rolled over yet. But
it's great.
Yeah.
Because I'm always grabbing stuff, and it doesn't tell you. The really great thing would be if either of them, and none of them, as far as I'm aware, do this. If you grab something and they told you, you already have the record, do you want to make another one, or do you want to update it and have you do it at that moment? But instead they just gather in your space, and then you have to go back and find them.
Yeah, that's a very common frustration with a bunch of these citation managers. It's and it doesn't seem like it would be too difficult. Like, I mean, you just mentioned it's like, do you want to? I mean, something that they can easily do is like check if there's a DOI that matches it, right?
Yeah.
We can always like mention it, but yeah, for sure, the one that I currently have and the most recent updated one, the dedupe feature doesn't work, or that doesn't exist, right? They're still trying to roll that over in a way that fits correctly with their vision plan.
Well, that may be why I ran into the site issue last time I tried to use that, which was I had, I guess, the old version of the citation manager, or whatever they call it. And it started yelling at me that I needed a new one, and the new one looked, it was the one you showed, but it was really different than the way the in-text citation thing existed before.
Yeah, they're changing that. Like one of the things when they first rolled out this design is that you couldn't add citation by folder. You need to type it in, but now you can. But it's good that this continuous support, right? Like I mentioned, I checked in general, there's about 2 updates every month, so that's really great. It tends to be minor, but as the minor updates, stack on each other, gradually it turns out to be a lot better.
So Zotero does have a duplicate items thing. I don't like how what is that? I don't really love how they have a container and a file separately, but I guess that's the same as Mendeley. They just show it differently because, right, you get the file attachment for the Mendeley as well.
Yeah.
It's just odd the way that it shows up. I did also find, I did a bunch of Googling. had been using Mendeley, was trying to move over to Zotero, and for a while you couldn't export. And it looks like they've now allowed you to do that again.
Yeah,
So
I
that's
figured
good.
now
that.
I'm maintaining
Oh.
2, which is dumb, which is why I figured I'd come and find out from you guys what you thought. Because I can't quite cut the cord on the Mendeley, and I'm quite committed to Zotero, so now I have
It's
2.
like you can export to RIS in the latest version.
I think we
Yeah.
have a question. Sophia mentioned that the Mendeley citation for Word keeps having to reinstall and every month or so. I actually haven't used the citation for longer than a month, but I think Joshua, you've used Zotero. I mean Mendeley longer, correct?
Yeah, sorry, what was the question? I keep having to reinstall it every month or so. Well, yeah, I've had some issues with that. I don't know, it gets buggy. And I've had to do that a few times. It is rather annoying. Zotero doesn't have that issue. But yeah, I memean, right now, just a few days ago, actually, I had trouble getting Mendeley to work with Word, and I had to re-download it again. So I'm not sure why. Maybe it's just because they're updating things and are changing things constantly. Yeah.
Yeah, actually,
It's not just you.
it's always reassuring to know that more people have the same issue. It's not just like your PC and you got to go get it checked or whatever, or it's not just Word and your PC. So thank you, Josh.
Mhm.
So yeah, if we don't have any other questions, I think Derek, you can just close it up. Thank you, Karen and Sophia, for the questions, by the way. Really appreciate it.